All right, let's dive into a topic that, let's be honest, is on pretty much everyone's mind: securing your financial future. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about building a life with freedom and choices, not just for you, but for the people you love.
So, I want you to think about two really powerful questions. First, when the paychecks eventually stop, how are you going to live? And second, after all that hard work, what happens to everything you've built once you're gone? Now, these might sound like far-off concerns, but the truth is, the answers are being shaped by the choices you make with your money right now, today. You see, these aren't just vague worries for some future version of you. They are the absolute cornerstones, the two pillars of your long-term financial security. Pillar one is taking care of your future self, which is your retirement. And pillar two is taking care of everyone and everything else, and that's your legacy.
Okay, so let's tackle that first pillar, planning for your retirement. I love thinking of it this way. It's all about building a paycheck for your future self, one that keeps coming long after you stopped clocking in.
So, what is retirement planning really? Well, imagine you're planning a huge road trip. You wouldn't just get in the car and start driving, right? You'd pick a destination, what you want that retirement to actually look and feel like, and then you map out the specific turns and stops to get there. It's about being deliberate today so you can relax tomorrow. Now, here in Malaysia, we've got three main tools in our toolkit to build that future paycheck. First up, you have the big one, the Employees Provident Fund, or EPF. Then there are the Voluntary Private Retirement Schemes, also known as PRS. And of course, the foundation for it all, your own personal savings and investments.
The biggest difference between the two main schemes really comes down to one word: choice. For most employees, EPF is that mandatory, solid foundation. Both you and your employer are contributing to it. Think of PRS as the next level up. It's totally voluntary, giving you a flexible way to supercharge your retirement fund and have a bit more say in how it's invested.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're using EPF, PRS, or your own savings, or hopefully a mix of all three. The goal is exactly the same: to build up a big enough pot of money so that you don't outlive your savings. It's a really simple concept, but making it a reality, that takes consistent, disciplined effort over a long, long time.
All right, let's pivot to that second pillar we talked about, your legacy. This is where we look beyond our own lifetime and tackle that other big question: what happens to everything we've built, and how can we make sure our loved ones are taken care of the way we want them to be?
You know, a huge misconception is that estate planning is something you do when you're old, or something you do for when you die. That's not it at all. It's an active process you do while you're living to create a clear, legal blueprint for your assets. It's about protecting you and your family from any future chaos or uncertainty. And this is why it is so important. Because if you don't have a plan, you don't get a say. Simple as that. The law, specifically the Distribution Act of 1958, will step in and divide up everything you own based on a strict formula, which might be the complete opposite of what you actually wanted.
So how do you take control? Well, you've got a few key tools in your toolbox. The most well-known are wills and trusts. And for Muslims in Malaysia, there's also a specific set of tools like Farad, Wasiat, and Hibah, which make sure that everything is aligned with Sharia principles.
So, a will or a trust? What's the difference? Here's an easy way to think about it. A will is basically a letter of instruction that only kicks in after you're gone. It's crucial, but it has to go through a public court process called probate, which can be long and expensive. A trust, on the other hand, is more like setting up a private company to hold your assets. It can be active while you're still alive, it completely skips probate, and it gives you way more privacy and control.
Now, for Muslims in Malaysia, there's an extra and absolutely vital layer to estate planning. There's a specific legal and religious framework in place to make sure that how your wealth is distributed is in line with Sharia principles. So let's quickly look at those tools.
Okay, let's break these down. Think of Farad as the foundation. It's the mandatory distribution of assets to your rightful heirs, all based on Islamic law. A wasiat, or an Islamic will, gives you some flexibility. It lets you assign up to 1/3 of your estate to non-heirs, like a specific charity or a close friend. And finally, there's Hibah. This is simply a gift that you give to someone while you're alive, which means that that asset is no longer part of your estate when you pass on.
Phew, okay. We have covered a lot. Retirement, EPF, wills, trusts. But what does it all mean for you right now? Why should you care about any of this today? Let's talk about the very first steps you can take.
First things first,
Please, get this idea out of your head that this stuff is only for rich people or old people. It's not. Planning your retirement and your estate is simply about taking control. It's about deciding you're going to be the author of your financial story instead of just a character in it. And that story starts today.
And you know what? The process isn't that complicated. You can break it down into 5 simple steps. 1. Assess. Know what you have and what you owe. 2. Set goals. Get really clear on what you want. 3. Identify your tools, the right mix of EPF, a will, and so on. 4. And this is the most important one. Implement. Actually open the account. Actually draft the document. And 5. Review. Life is not static. As your life changes, your plan needs to change right along with it.
And always remember, this plan is so much more than just a bunch of numbers. It's a roadmap. And following that roadmap doesn't just lead to financial security. It leads to genuine peace of mind. That incredible feeling of knowing that you and the people you care about are going to be okay.
So we'll end right where we started, thinking about your legacy. Because your legacy isn't just about what you leave behind. It's about the freedom you build for yourself in retirement and the security you provide for others. So the real question is, what legacy are you going to choose to build?